This massy Malayalam film had the ambition and the potential, but the end result doesn't live up to that. And that's why I think it should be remade in Telugu. Let's talk. Hello guys, I'm Nona Prince and I saw the third film of the Onam release, Kondal, written and directed by Ajith Mampally. I've already reviewed the first two, ARM and Kishkinda Kandam. The reviews are out and I feel those two films have overshadowed this one. I've heard the least about this. Is this film sidelined or it's not up to the mark? And that's the sad part with Malayalam cinema, that the competition is so high. Whenever there are multiple films releasing, there will be comparison. Forget not being good, even if there's a 19-20 ka difference, even a tiny bit can make the film left behind. So let's try to figure out how this film did. I feel Kondal got stuck in the conflict of being massy versus being very rooted, because the film actually tries to do both and it even works in some of the moments, but it's not consistent all the way. The problem is not the blending of the two, but the execution of them. Actually, the film has got the right mass. The writing is all there. It's all about the execution, but those high moments don't land. There's a really good build up, but the payoff is disappointing, especially the climax. All the momentum they build up is just lost like this, and that's why I feel that this film should get a Telugu remake or a Tamil remake, whoever can pull off the mass. And you need a good team who understands mass and can pull it off, because this film has all the elements needed. You've got the hero and you have built up the scenario so well that you feel angry with the hero and you want the hero to take the retribution. The story creates that feeling within you to root for the hero, and you want the fight to happen and you want him to take down everyone. And when I say that, it's not a dig at the people who are involved with this film. Antony Varghese Pepe, he has it. The film starts with the title of action hero Anthony, and he has got all the swag to be a massy hero. Him just standing tall in a slow-mo sequence, that's enough to sell it. He has that brutal force with him. He commands that power on screen, but all of it doesn't match the kind of action he's pulling off in the film. And that's the point where I realized that why you need the over-the-top sequences, because you need him to be an unstoppable force. Writing has done such a good job of building it up that you want him to go all out, but he doesn't really. The action is so weak. Yes, technically with the camera work they have done everything they could, but you feel the lack of power, the impact of that action. The action design is very average. It looks more like a brawl fight, but you don't want that. You want that one-man army standing tall against all of these people. That's a demand of that moment, and I feel the lack of that comes from the Malayalam cinema sensibility, that there's a precedence of wanting a real and raw fight, but then the whole film has to be like that. You cannot really build up to a massy scene and then give us a grounded fight sequence. It just ends up being very unsatisfactory. Now let's come to the second part, the rootedness. If you have seen the trailer, you'll notice that the story revolves around a fishing boat where we have all these fishermen going on to work. Now for me, the boat sequences are my favorite part of the film, and the reason for that is the writing. It is so tense. You really feel it. There's so much going on between so many different characters, and with that, even the depiction of the boat life, how it is done, what all happens there, what's the procedure. In a way, we are exploring their lives. What do they do when they go to the sea? It's basically an experience, and it actually gave me some anime vibes. Like that could have been the whole story, that they are going on this journey to get a special fish or something like that. Now the film is VFX heavy. That's where the ambition comes from, and overall I would say it's a mixed bag. There are sequences which look really good, then there are some which are mid. You can tell it's a VFX shot, it's not very convincing, and then there are some which are really just objectively bad. It felt like they did it in 5 minutes. Now I can try to explain you that, but there's a video by Corridor Crew and they have explained it really well, how the VFX changes according to the time it is given. So do check it out to know more about it. But the thing is, none of it came in the way because the story was very interesting. You are still hooked even if the visuals didn't look that great. Now I do feel the length of the film is a demerit. There are a lot of interesting things going on and a crisper version would have been better, but they kind of dragged it, and because of that in the second half it does get rough. The plot points become very repetitive and you feel that there's no clear plan of action how to reach the climax. Also with that, there are some loose points in the narrative. Now there are two kind of dramas. One is, what you write in the script, how you create it, and one is how you depict it visually, how you're shooting the scene and cutting them together. So in this movie there were moments where a scene has an energy. It's very chaotic because something chaotic is going on between the characters. At the same time, we cut to another group of characters who are thinking what to do, but there's a lack of urgency. They're just standing, brooding, looking away, thinking, and you feel like, wait, there's something going on. The energy is not matching. This thing can also be used very creatively depending on the narrative you're telling, but here it didn't work because it was very contradicting. That lack of urgency was killing the scene, and it happens so many times. You're wondering why these characters are standing and staring at each other. I definitely feel this film tried something. They could have been more cutthroat, remove the fluff. There's some setup, there are some songs, there's a whole flashback, which if they have left out and just focused on the boat, what's happening there, we start from there and we end the film there, it could have been really something else. Now I have to talk about the cast of the film because it was just brilliant. Like what an ensemble cast they got. Like every actor in there way of work. They stood out as their character. Just the chemistry they all had together, I believe that they work together and they have histories among each other. Now, one casting I felt didn't work was Rajbi Shetty, and I feel it was a miscast. And it's not that he didn't do a good job, he did whatever he could with what was given to him. But I feel you need to understand that an actor can do different type of roles, but they do come with an identity with them. And when you cast them in a role which doesn't match with that identity, it just doesn't work. Especially in this case, because it's not a full-fledged role where we understand the character, we see an arc, and we get into the layers of it. It is actually a special appearance. So there is no time for all of that. The identity of the actor has to match the character to sell it quickly to us. So after watching the film, I didn't understand why cast him. Maybe there can be many reasons for it, but narrative wise, I felt it didn't work. Instead, you could have casted a big Malayalam actor there, and that could have helped you sell the movie more. That could have been a logical and financial move. Of course, if you get a bigger actor, then the budget thing, all of that happens. You have to, look at the logistics also. Nothing against Rajbi Shetty, but it didn't make sense to have him for that particular role. I feel the script for this film was really solid. Maybe few things here and there could have been altered, but what they really needed was a better execution, and that would have actually made this film a great outing. And that's why I say there's a possibility for a remake, but with few changes and a better understanding of how to deliver mass. So I'm finally done with the Onam releases. This week definitely adds to the great year Malayalam cinema is having, which I've broken down in this video. Definitely check it out. And also there have been some really good Hindi releases you should definitely check out. Recommended from my side. Sector 36 on Netflix and Berlin on Z5. To know more about them, you can check out my Hindi channel Nona Prince Filmy. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.